So good morning, sir. Today we'll be talking about stereolithography. So stereolithography is a type of additive. Somrit, next slide.
Just ask everybody, are they able to see? Just ask everybody.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
It's visible na? And audible also. Very nice. Continue, please.
Somrit, next slide.
This is इधर से चालू करना है ना इंट्रोडक्शन.
मेरे में इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं आ रहा एक्चुअली.
नहीं, इधर आया हमको दिख रहा है इंट्रोडक्शन. सर्कल आया है पाई चार्ट का.
हाँ सर.
Okay. So additive. Okay, never mind. So additive manufacturing is nothing but it's a type of 3D printing process. So in this, the 3D design data, the process actually builds layer by layer by depositing the material. So this is how the 3D object is made. So instead of removing the block from the metal, we have to add the block to the metal, and that's why it is known as additive manufacturing process. So recently nowadays it is known as rapid prototyping. So this is actually the same thing, but we use the computer aided design for the creation of the part. So there are different types of rapid prototyping available. So one of them is this stereolithography. So stereolithography, the main motive of this is to produce a part in a layer by layer by adding the solid blocks to it. So going to the history of the manufacturing process. Next slide.
Yeah, anybody of you can explain.
Go ahead, Samrit.
Smith, history you can see now?
I can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stereolithography, basically it was invented by this researcher. His name was Hideo Kodama. So he invented this in the early 1980s. So the name was coined by the scientist. His name was Chuck Hull in 1984. So he filed his patent for the process. And Hull's patent described, so what he exactly said was that a concentrated beam of ultraviolet light is focused onto the surface of a vat filled with liquid photopolymer. So this beam is focused on the surface of the photopolymer, and it creates each layer of a 3D object. And this was the intent of allowing engineers to create prototypes of their design, and this was more efficient in terms of time. So this is how the stereolithography was coined, and this is why it was invented. This success it was mainly used in the automotive industry, and the blocks were built in the industry using the 3D printing process. And besides this, these are also used in medical fields as well. So that will be coming ahead in the applications. So I'll hand over to Somrik for methodology.
Yes, sir. Sir, so after Chuck Hull patented this name, he started his own company, which is known as 3D Systems. It is very famous now. And then he began commercializing it, and 3D Systems has been one of the companies that has a prime role in reducing the cost of 3D printers and make it accessible to everyone. Sir, so next we'll go to the methodology as to how 3D printing actually works. Sir, is this slide visible on methodology?
Yes.
So, sir, the basic principle in stereolithography is that there is a laser beam or a UV laser which when it interacts with liquid plastic resin, the plastic resin is solidifies because of the interaction of the photons from the UV beam. Uh, the specific wavelength of the UV beam is very necessary, is very important to be controlled properly. So what first happens is one has to first make a CAD design of whatever they want to make and then save it as a STL file. The software part will be further covered by Siddharth in his time, but in essence, it is converted into a format that the 3D printer can read. So what happens is we use a laser to first draw one layer of our of whatever we want to win. For example, here we want to build a here we are building a profile of a lady in plastic. So in this case, we first started. This is called reverse building because we are building it upside down. Here we first started from this layer, and what happens is first it is dipped into a layer, then it is again taken out, then a laser solidifies that layer in a predetermined path. So in essence, the build platform lowers one by one layer, and then there is a blade attachment that covers the layer with new resin. This is one way. The other way is also from the top up, where as is shown here in this design. So firstly, there is a laser here, and one blade comes which will coat the entire surface with resin. Then this laser, which is focused onto a very sharp and fine point, will actually solidify that layer. Then this entire platform will go down by some predetermined level, and again the top layer will be covered with resin. Then again
Correct.
this laser will solidify the next layer, and this process will continue until we get all the layers necessary.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the basic design process is first we draw it on CAD, then it turns into STL format. STL stands for Standard Tessellation Language, where every contour of the object is converted into triangle. Then slicing occurs. In slicing, basically what happens is that each and every that the entire object is broken into different layers, and each layer has a different slide thickness D. This slide thickness D will depend on the printer that is here. So this is what we call top-down manufacturing, because it starts from the top, and this is called bottoms up manufacturing because it starts from the bottom, and then the indexing direction is upwards. In this case, the indexing direction is downwards. These are both types of 3D printing. This is an example of bottom up where the indexing direction is
Bottom.
upward.
Baro.
Okay. Sir, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So once the
Uh-huh.
parts have been completed, they will need to be post processed, and it need to be cleaned it needs to be cleaned properly. Next,
Yeah, yeah.
sir, Siddharth will explain the materials and the software and the formative part of it. Siddharth.
Okay, okay. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, so now talking about the materials used for stereolithography, invariably thermosetting polymers are used for this process. Thermosetting polymers on application of heat, they transform themselves into an interlinked crisscross polymer, which results into an extremely high thermal resistance and high durability. Now, different types of materials are deployed for stereolithography on the basis of their applications. They give a multitude of applications, from being used as a prototype to being used as a mold to also being used as a fit for consumer use product. Now, a few examples of materials used for stereolithography are polycarbonate, polypropylene, and ABS. One of the most popular uses in automobile is of ABS, where high strength is required. ABS stands for acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. Polycarbonate is used where extreme high temperature resistances are required, for example, injection molds, etc. And polypropylene is used for flexibility, durability, and for extremely fine modeling of our product. Now going to softwares.
Yes, sir. In this case, what happens is that the plastics he talked about, they are mixed in a kind of a resin.
Yeah.
Because in stereolithography, the material has to be a liquid, which is what gives us this fine precision over control. So,
Acha.
because in stereolithography we cannot see the layers, that is because a liquid is much less is much more castable than a solid than a melted plastic. So
Correct.
there are different types of resins present here. For example, we have standard resins, which are used for general prototyping. On the image in the right, you can see how a resin is quite thick. This is standard resin, but the problem is it is relatively brittle, but it is very cheap and easy to handle. Next, as Siddharth said, we have ABS-like or PPP-like resins, which have very strong mechanical properties and are impact resistance. We also have dental and medical resins, which can be used in live beings. They're biocompatible so that they don't harm the body, and they have high abrasion resistance, meaning that even if even after long EA, they do not lose their texture and they do not get damaged. Unfortunately, these are quite costly. Next, we have castable resins. Castable resins, as he said, are used for creating mold patterns. So, for example, like we learned in PE1 casting, the patterns are sometimes made by stereolithography. These patterns are extremely heat resistant, and they do not convert into ash even after burning out completely. So they retain their integrity even later. Sir, furthermore, we can add various types of colors and other additive polymers inside in these resins, so that our final build is colorful depending on what the
Acha.
user.
Yeah.
Sir, next he'll again explain the softwares to you.
Acha. Acha.
The process of stereolithography begins by drafting a computer-aided design, which ends up being an .stl file. We begin by designing our required prototype on a software. On different softwares are available like SolidWorks, Autodesk, FreeCAD, etc., where we save it as respective part files and we convert those part files into STL files. The STL file is by default read at the manufacturing site. The software allocates coordinates to the resin and to the surface where we need to strike the laser. At each respective 3D coordinate system, at each strike of the laser, the specific resin is casted into a solid, and layer by layer, we keep lifting it. So this process follows on a plane, and after each plane is formed, we raise it by a level, and along the perpendicular axis, it again forms the next layer. And once the CAD is ready, it has to be transported to the manufacturing unit, and the computer reads it and it follows the top to down approach. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice.
There are various types of softwares available here. For example, we have Autodesk. Autodesk is the major. They themselves offer three. We can use AutoCAD, we can use Fusion 360, and we can use MeshMaker, FreeCAD, SketchUp. These are again various here. Sometimes we need to we can also manually repair or edit these STL files in case some problem occurs. Sir, one of the main things that we need to do in pre-processing is building support structures during the year. Sir, as you can see, as it is a top-down or a bottom-up manufacturing technique, if sufficient support structures are not present, the material will break during its curing process or during the year. For example, sir, in this slide, we need to give some sort of a support structure here, or the head will become too heavy and it will break from here. Okay, so proper balance. So, sir, proper balancing is necessary. So the softwares allow us to either they can either do it automatically when they'll just select the biggest plane of the object and then just directly drop support structures right around here, everywhere. But that leads to wastage of material. Instead, we can also do it manually. In which case we can choose the most optimum setting to manually add support for overhanging portions.
Acha. Acha.
But the main problem of adding multiple supports is the removal of the supports once the printing is done. So that is where we come into post processing. So once we have finished the layer by layer material polymerization, the platform rises out of the tank and the excess resin that is trapped in the ear has been drained. Usually we use a solvent like isopropyl alcohol, okay, which further which reacts with the resin and makes it easier to drain out. Sometimes we need to have some channels in our original build so that the resin can be drained out once the build has been completed. Next, once our build is once our model is ready and it has been washed of excess resin, it is placed into a UV lamp for final curing. So here in the image you can see a UV lamp where this object is. So after post, this curing is very important as this helps the objects to reach the highest possible strength, and it makes the resin much more stable. So that later, if some sort of a wavelength, later if some sort of light or laser is done on the finished object, it won't melt easily. That is why this final curing is very important. Otherwise, without final curing, sometimes they may melt down because of coming in contact of a laser or something. Sir, most importantly, once we have cured it, it is important to remove the support structures from the A. Sir, for example, in this image, you can see the support
Yeah, yeah,
structures in
yeah,
the bottom and the A.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they are usually made much thinner than the actual A so that they can be easily removed. Once they are removed, their bottom surface is just sanded properly so that it gives us a better surface finish.
Yeah, yeah. That is a
It,
skill job. Yes, yes. That particular portion where there are so many thin sections are there, and in
yes, sir.
between support structures are essential, and that removal is a problem. Yes.
Yes, sir.
For
So,
the
sir,
other
these
side, it is
days,
a strong. Yeah.
yes, sir. So these days we can use special solvents that will completely dissolve the resin, such as isopropyl
Ah,
alcohol. So
yeah,
applying
yeah.
them on the support structure will automatically dissolve the support structures. But
That's
we need
best
to,
actually. Huh?
yes, sir. But even in that case, we need to be careful because if we spill it, then the entire model will get dissolved.
Acha,
So
acha.
that also needs to be done very carefully and with skill.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sir,
Is
next,
it not possible that some solutions only that will be dissolved, that support structure will be dissolved, but our
that is
this
possible in.
resin, huh?
Sir, actually, in SLA we can only make it out of one resin. In FDM, we can do it such that there are two types of polymers, one for the support structure, one for the actual.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
sir,
yeah,
that is not
yeah.
possible in SLA. In SLA, it is done entirely.
Yes, enter.
So,
Okay.
sir, sometimes we can use some kind of shielding to actually prevent it from spilling on the main material. But
Acha, acha.
we need to.
One more thing.
Yes,
Here you are keeping it in this ultraviolet rays for curing, right? And
yes, sir.
initially for that curing, the same UV laser you are using or some other sources there. Means,
No, sir. So there are two differences basically. Firstly, in this system, we were using a unidirectional laser beam. Okay, that
uh,
will only solidify the part that it was attached to.
yeah,
Here,
yeah,
it is completely covered in a UV beam.
yeah,
But
yeah.
sir, the also sir, the radiation is slightly different in this case, and
Acha,
which
acha,
helps it
acha.
in solidification.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And their acha, intensity is difference, but source is
Yes,
same,
sir.
na? Source is
Source
same.
is same. Source is
Okay,
same. Yes, sir.
okay,
Source is
okay.
same.
Very nice.
Sir, next, Yashika will explain the applications and the advantages.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so applications of stereolithography. Yes. Stereolithography it offers a variety of real-world applications in diverse fields like from manufacturing to biomedicine. These designers use this process for rapid prototyping. Stereolithographic models have been used for creating accurate 3D models of various anatomic regions of patients based on the data from computer scan. Also, there has been a large production volumes in aerospace industries using 3D printing as a prototyping solution rather than this end part manufacturing. These 3D printers can produce high quality custom products with low cost, superior fit and repeatable results. They can be used in entertainment industry in step motion films, video games and special effects for blockbuster movies. So next slide.
Yes. Sir, here are some of the examples of SLA printing. Here in the bottom, you can see we have printed a denture using SLA. These are the support structures which will need to be removed after the
Yeah, yeah,
curing process.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, SLA allows us to get extremely intricate design which other processes such as FDM cannot. For example, sir, a design like this can never be done by FDM printing process.
Yeah, yeah. And design on
Yes.
these cups and these ornaments. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Here also it is okay. That is so much details are not possible in our this thing, na? SDM, huh?
Yes, sir. FDM में नहीं होगा sir ये.
FDM में.
Yashika.
Moving on to advantages of stereolithography. So its major advantage is that it's quick. Since curing is fast, so parts can be built in relatively short period of time. Next is it's cheap. The feedstock used are generally cheap to produce in bulk. So powders and photopolymer resin contribute very little to the cost of the process. So it is only the cost of the energy for laser and automatic platform that is added, which is almost negligible. It aids prototyping. Stereolithography produces low cost yet accurate models with which one can find costly mistakes by detecting the design flaws before even actually manufacturing it. Also, it's a multi-material process. In recent years, there have been advances in making it a standard process for joining metal and even ceramic powders before being solidified. That means any component can now be initially formed using SLA. Highly abrasive applications can be formed without the use of expensive machining techniques. Next is it has surface finish. SLA parts are renowned for having very good surface finish, high precision. The object's precision is limited by the quality of the system. So, finer the laser beam's diameter, the greater will be the precision.
Yeah.
Sir, sir, so like basically the only limiting factor in the precision we can achieve using SLA is the diameter of the laser and the movement of the structure. So the slower it moves, the better, the more finished and more precise object we'll get, and the more time it takes.
Yeah.
So as she said, like the manufacturing cost in SLA is extremely less because one printer can print a lot of materials, a lot of objects very quickly. So, but the point is that the time will mainly depend on how much we want the quality of the goods to be. For
Yeah.
example, printing something like this will take a lot of time as compared
Yeah.
to say printing something like this,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that is much more intricate than this. So
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. What are these references? There are so much material are available. It's a upcoming branch, and much development is going on in the world in this SLA technique. Particularly here, as you mentioned, that fineness of your laser diameter and that moment. So depending upon that, your accuracy is there. So
yes, sir.
that here that tilting mirror is there, no, at the top, and
Yes,
accordingly
sir.
this laser is moving the control. So the main thing in their machine is whatever is prepared in the STL format, how that information is passed to that moment of that mirror. There lies
Okay, sir. Sir,
the
that
speciality
is
of that. Huh?
sir, that is explained in the report very well. The report
Acha,
mein wo
acha,
hai sir. ठीक है sir.
detailed
But
report,
basically,
barabar.
yes, sir. So
I
basically, what
understood it.
happens is
Huh.
what happens is that the entire object is converted into triangles. Sir, kind of like this bowl, for example.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, so each vertex of this triangle is converted into each vertex of this triangle is a vector point in space, and uska exact position and its exact position and coordinate is defined.
कोऑर्डिनेट्स, यस यस यस, 3D सिस्टम
3D,
बराबर.
yes sir, in a 3D
उसको
system, sir. So
एक्चुअली
it
क्या
has its
कहते हैं हम
own.
लोग, टेट्राहेड्रॉन टाइप समथिंग ना, that
Yes sir, yes sir. So
triangle
tessellation, sir.
when all four sides, when all four faces are isosceles triangles.
Yes sir,
In that
tetrahedron.
way it is actually tetrahedron. Yeah, so it is made like that. Yeah, it is
Yes sir.
basically that technique in 3D. It is very difficult to explain here actually.
Yes
It
sir.
can be explained by that coordinate system in 3D. Correct. And
Yes,
then accordingly instructions are given to that mirror. So
yes
his
sir.
entire technique is based on that. So it's a good seminar, very good seminar. Just tell me कि आप लोगों ने ये रिपोर्ट अभी सबमिट किया है क्या?
हाँ सर, रिपोर्ट सबमिट
हाँ
किया
सर.
है।
जस्ट अ मिनट बेटा, ये